Hello everyone, welcome back to YK Reviews. For today's review, it's going to be all about the movie Breaking, starring John Boyega. So let's get into it. Now, with the movie Breaking, it's essentially about a veteran who was honorably discharged from the armed forces and had his disability check stolen by the VA, and he's now having to go to the bank to make a statement to try and get his money back from the VA, and taking the bank hostage to get the money back, essentially. And for me, what I found fascinating about this movie is the character that is being portrayed is based on somebody who actually went through this and actually did all of this. So for me, it really caught my eye because of that situation and because of what happened in real life events. And I have to say, given the circumstances and everything, I found this movie very, very intense and really fascinating to watch. The plot itself, as I mentioned, is pretty basic. It is about somebody who takes the bank hostage because the VA stole his disability check and he wants that money back. And what I really enjoyed is that there wasn't too much complicated backstory or anything like that. It just focuses on the plot itself. It focuses on the bank robbery, not the bank robbery, but the bank being taken hostage, and what the main character wants in itself. And the person who plays it, the main lead, John Boyega, I loved his performance in this. He was very down to earth. You cannot take your eyes off him. His performance in this movie was one that I think was probably his standout performance. He did a fantastic job playing the innocent man who just wanted to get his money back. His interactions with the hostages, his interactions with law enforcement, and his interactions with his family in itself as well. You just feel for what he's going through. You understand his motivations, and you don't want anything to happen to him. And the way he portrayed everything, the way he did his performance and played the character, you just have to stand up and applaud. I couldn't take my eyes off the screen for one bit. I was just so worried about what's going to happen to him and what he's doing, and wanting him to be safe, and just wanting him rooting for him, essentially, because you want him to get his money back, because at the end of the day it wasn't his fault. The VA made the mistake. So I have to just give a huge shout out to John Boyega for what he portrayed in this movie itself, and not just him as well, the hostages themselves, because I don't want to give too much away when it comes to the actual movie, because I want you to watch the movie itself. So in the movie itself, his interactions with the hostages, it's not any violent rage or anything like that. He's so down to earth, he's so calm, and the hostages themselves, they play such a vital role in everything. They were so the actresses that played them, one person I recognized was from Orange Is the New Black, and she did a fantastic role of how she was acting as a hostage in itself. But both of them together, how they were at one point talking to him, how they were speaking to the media outlet and law enforcement, they really you felt because it was based on a true story and this actually happened in real life, you kind of feel for them and wish that they didn't have to go through that. And what I love too is because you see little flashbacks of his life with his daughter, you see his interactions with his family. So it was really emotional seeing that, and seeing what his family had to go through, and what the law enforcement were doing with his family because of his situation and where he is right now. It was really heartbreaking and sad to see and sad to watch, because you are rooting for him, and you're rooting, because you're rooting for him, you're also rooting for his family, you're rooting for his daughter. And obviously no parent wants to see their parent in that sort of vulnerable situation, in that sort of environment. So it was just such a heartbreaking movie to see. And what I love is with the hostage negotiator too, who's played by Michael K. Williams, rest in peace. I think this was one of his last projects that he did before he sadly passed away, and he was an amazing hostage negotiator. He, like, his scenes with John Boyega, like, over the phone were just so powerful and so riveting that you really loved, like, the interaction. You really understand, like, where he's coming from, and like Michael did an amazing job in this movie. Like, I really loved what he did in the movie, and like his acting and his portrayal of like the character. It's just a fantastic movie in itself. Like, everybody played their role so well, but like Michael K. Williams, John Boyega, like they elevated the movie just because of like how they acted and how they were like portraying like these characters. So you just can't help but be enamored with this movie itself. Like, there's not much action, there's not much drama. It's a bit intense when it comes to like what's going on in the situation itself, but the movie is just such a powerful movie because of like the situation in itself, that I think you'll have an amazing time watching this movie. If you love like movies that are based on true stories, I think you'll have an amazing time with this movie. But you just have to watch it just because of the performances by those two actors in itself, and just because of like the circumstance that's given. I think you'll really enjoy like what they did with this movie in itself. And not to give out anything away, or like not to give out what happened or spoil anything in itself, but once like the credits rolled and they wrote like at the end like what happens after like these events, it's just like gut-wrenching, and like especially because of VA, like they kind of like said like the VA's like comments about everything. And I don't know, for me, like I'm not too familiar with like the VA, but that like a mistake like that, just, I don't know, it baffles me. And I really hope like this movie does get more like recognition, and like a lot of people do get to see this movie just because of the story in itself. I really love this movie, and have to give a shout out to this movie, and highly recommend it. If you have seen the movie though, let me know down in the comment section below what you thought about it. And if you haven't seen this movie, like, have you heard about this case? Would you go out and like watch this movie? Let me know down in the comment section below too. But thank you so much for watching, thank you so much for listening. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any future videos here on the channel. Really do appreciate all the support here. But this is YK Reviews. Peace.